let me save you from making the most expensive mistake I've seen people make over and over again. They line up Albuquerque and El Paso, see that El Paso's cheaper, and they book the move. They're done, just because the spreadsheet said so. And 6 months later, they realize that they're miserable because the cheapest city and the city that actually matches their life are not the same thing. And El Paso isn't the villain here, the numbers are. And I just wanna make an honest case on this video today. I'm gonna tell you why it might actually benefit you to pay for Albuquerque, even if it is a little bit more expensive, but I'm also gonna tell you why some people should choose El Paso. Sound like a deal? And full disclosure, I've lived here in Albuquerque for the past 30 plus years. I was born and raised. My name is Eli, and as a licensed real estate broker, as much as I love doing these videos, I'd love to help you out with that potential move to New Mexico. So that number popping up on the screen is my direct line. Feel free to call or text at any time. So here's the trap. When you're looking at everything, I'm not gonna lie to you, El Paso is cheaper when it comes down to price. And we're trained to look for the lowest price. That's just what it is. And on paper, El Paso is anywhere from 10 to 14% less expensive when it comes down to cost of living and home prices versus living here in Albuquerque. And I don't wanna pretend otherwise, but a house isn't a TV. And you build your whole life around this. And if you find that you're missing the mountains, life is getting boring, or you're just tired of the heat, it can become one of the most expensive things you just did because you're gonna find yourself wanting to move again. Sure, you may save a few $100, so what? Big whoop-de-doo. It doesn't really matter if the next 6 months you pick the city that just doesn't fit your lifestyle or what you're looking for when it comes down to the next chapter in life. So the real question is, which city is worth paying for? And I think I gotta show you Albuquerque before we get into the whole El Paso thing and give you a glimpse into what you can expect. For starters, Albuquerque sits above sea level, 5,300 feet to be exact. And that does two things that El Paso can't. First off is with the higher elevation, we actually get all 4 seasons here. We get nice warm summers, beautiful falls, and we actually experience somewhat of a real winter here. You get snow-capped mountains. It's gonna be enough for you to go and enjoy and play in, but it's not gonna be enough to bury you. And that's something that El Paso can't offer to you. So you get variety when it comes down to the seasons here. And second is gonna be the mountains. The mountains themselves are a backdrop. You can nearly see them from everywhere that you go here in the city. And it becomes more of an identity. The Sandia Mountains are a big part of our life here, and it's something that helps us stay grounded. Now, to be fair, if you hate the cold and you just wanna wear shorts in February and you wanna have warmth throughout the year, El Paso is the bigger win on that aspect. But if you wanna live in a place that changes throughout the year, and it feels more alive, Albuquerque is the big win in that aspect. And the mountains here are more than just a big backdrop to our whole life and the daily commute. It's actually something that we cherish. Talking about the outdoor lifestyle that you can get here versus what you can get in El Paso, I think it's an important thing to bring up because this isn't something that you're gonna see on spreadsheets. And I wanna make sure that we can hit on that. So we're gonna head over to the Bosque, get on a trail real quick, just to show you how easy it is to get to all these different things from your house. Now that wasn't such a bad ride, was it? We were just in Old Town, and to give you perspective, we just really went down the road and we were able to come down to what is West Old Town Park. And there's a trail here and a park here. A lot of people tend to forget that this area is actually here, so that's why I like coming to film here, because I'm not gonna see a ton of people just coming in the back of the video and trying to figure out what I'm doing. But anyways, this is the part of the spreadsheet that a lot of people miss, that never really makes it onto a spreadsheet, because here in Albuquerque, the outdoors is a lifestyle. So this is the part the spreadsheets miss. They don't show you all the trails. This trail, as you can see, is super long. And this one just connects you to all the Rio Grande Bosque trails. And we actually have a cottonwood forest here, which is actually pretty cool to see, because you're never gonna be able to build there because some type of a land deal that was, made with the tribes that were settled here back in the day. They said that they can never build here along the river, which I don't know if it's true or not. That's just something that I heard through the grapevine, through word of mouth, and through all the generations that had lived here. Now, on the mountain aspect, Yeah, sure, it's not tall ponderosa pines or anything like that on our side, but once you hit the east side, you are gonna see all those tall pine trees. And when it does snow up there, you can go and enjoy snowboarding, skiing, tubing, and then come back into town and act like there was never any snow here, because we hardly ever get snow here in the metro area. But when it does snow, it's actually pretty cool, because in the mornings, you're gonna be able to enjoy it, and then by the afternoon, it's all gone. And then of course, every October, this bosque lights on fire. Not literally, but it does look like it's on fire just because all the leaves are changing colors. And then when mass ascension happens and all the balloons are in the sky, there's just a mass plethora of colors filling the sky, filling the bosque, because they'll come and touch down on the river. It's just something that you have to experience, and that's not something that these spreadsheets are gonna be able to tell you. Just ask yourself, what do you want your typical Saturday to look like? And that right there, not your mortgage payment, is something that you're gonna remember for the next 5 to 10 years. And look, El Paso has the Franklin Mountains, but that's great for like summer desert hiking. But the true difference here is the variety that you get here in Albuquerque and all the different things you can do throughout the season. All right, really quick, if you want to talk about relocation and you don't want to just necessarily talk about all the houses and all the different listings, you want to talk about your lifestyle and how it can actually match up to here in Albuquerque, hit that subscribe and notification bell down at the bottom. That way you never miss out on any videos. That number popping up on the screen here, my direct line, call or text me at any time. But let's talk about what actually makes these places feel like home. Now, the culture in both places is by far some of the best that I've ever experienced. But here in New Mexico, it's more of an identity. Sure, El Paso gets known as Chuco Town and the border town, but green chili, balloons, our fiestas, and just the overall lifestyle here, it becomes a part of who you actually are more than just some type of nickname you try to give yourself. And just quick history, New Mexico is older than we actually think it is. Santa Fe is the oldest city in the whole country, and with that being an hour away from here, you can experience all that culture, history, and art that is still very well intact and very well taken care of. You can also experience some of that here in Albuquerque at Old Town, and that's a lot of the reason why people move here, but it also feels like a slower pace than El Paso. El Paso is just a massive city. It's constantly innovating and renovating, and with Juarez being right next door, it just always feels super busy. That's not the case here in Albuquerque. It's more of a mountain town kind of vibe and feel, super laid back, super chill, just kind of an easy place to belong to. And I promised to deal with the elephant in the room. We just came up to the foothills. I'm staring at the mountainside. It's pretty dope. I'm gonna show you a little bit of B-roll of it, but we're actually gonna go into the money conversation to see if it's actually worth paying a little bit more for living here in Albuquerque. I'm just gonna be honest with you, the overall cost between Albuquerque and El Paso is quite different, about 10 to 14% of a difference. Houses here in Albuquerque run in the mid 300s versus El Paso that run in the high 200s. Now, that is a big difference, and I'm not hiding that. But this is where you make your money back. Property taxes here in New Mexico are about half of what they are there in Texas. And that's gonna be a lot of money that you don't see up front, but on the back end, you are gonna get a big return on that. And mountains, trails, bosque rides, and everything that is outdoor, that's not something that you're paying extra for. That's pretty much already all included. You wouldn't believe how many bugs are up here. I gotta stay moving, because if not, they just stop all over you. But anyways, by far the most expensive thing that I've seen happen is when people pick the cheaper city, the cheaper house, and they hate it 6 months down the road, because now they're planning on moving again. And if you know anything about moving, especially from one state to the other, it can get expensive, and you'll end up hating that city even more. So that's something to really think about before you actually pick one of these two cities. And overall, the cheapest thing that you can do is just pick the city that you're not gonna regret living in for the next 5 to 10 years. And if you are like a high income earner or renter that wants to live in a city that is a lot more alive, has more nightlife and stuff like that, El Paso might be the great pick for you. But if you're somebody that wants more outdoor lifestyle, you want a slower pace of living, and you don't mind paying a little bit more for it, Albuquerque might be the better fit for you. And with all of this in mind, I just want to shoot you straight. Who is this actual move going to be better for? Oh man, we had to make a quick pit stop. We're closing on a house for our buddy Paige, who's relocating from Sacramento. And he ran into the same issue, which is kind of funny that we're doing this video, because although he wasn't looking to move to El Paso, he was looking to relocate to Las Cruces or Albuquerque. He ultimately ended up choosing Albuquerque because of the lifestyle and just the overall things that this place offers, right? Who is this place gonna be for? Now, I'm just gonna be honest with you. I've lived here in Albuquerque for the past 30 years. I don't plan on going anywhere. And I'm one of those people that just says, hey, put green on everything. So when we talk about this character, and if you fall in one of these two categories, these are things you're gonna, wanna write down and really look at when it comes down to picking either El Paso or Albuquerque. And although I may love Albuquerque, and I don't plan on going anywhere, I think it'd be a huge disservice if I didn't give you some things to think about. The people choosing Albuquerque are the people who want to experience all 4 seasons. They don't want to live in a polarizing climate where it's just always gonna be sunny, hot, or the opposite, right? It's always cloudy and rainy and cold. They want to be able to experience all 4 seasons throughout the year. So that's a big thing to think about. You're also gonna be in a city where the outdoor lifestyle dictates a lot of the things that you're gonna be doing on the weekend. So if you're somebody that wants more of that, Albuquerque's a for sure pick. Also, with us being a mid-sized city, we're not gonna be as fast-paced as some of these other major cities. We're not even gonna be as fast-paced as El Paso is, because I'll be honest with you, the last time that I was there a couple of weeks ago, it really felt like everything was go, 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 especially with all the freeway driving we were doing here. There's only 2 freeways, I-25 and I-40, and yes, you are gonna use those a majority of the time to commute, but if you choose not to and you just wanna take a scenic route, there's many ways to get around the city. In all honesty, if you want a bigger city and you just want warmer weather year-round and a lower cost of living and you don't want to pay as much for the house, El Paso is going to be a great fit. I'm not going to negate that fact. So if El Paso is going to be it just because of those aspects there, by all means, you're not going to hurt our feelings. I also just recently helped somebody with relocating out of Albuquerque, and that's pretty much where all this story stemmed from, because they ended up moving to El Paso. And after having a few conversations on why they were looking to leave, it was mainly just the money conversation. A couple weeks into it, they realized what they left behind. And now they're planning on moving back, and they see that it's just a little bit more expensive than what they had anticipated, and it was just because it was a bad call in the whole life situation thing. But let me know in the comments, what are you looking for? Are you looking for more of the 4 seasons? You want more of an outdoor lifestyle? Or do you want that bigger city living? Just let me know down in the comments. But that doesn't have to be you, and we just did a full cost breakdown of living here in Albuquerque, so you can go back into the channel and watch that. Number popping up on the screen here is my direct line. Call or text me at any time. And as always, thank you so much for coming by. Don't forget to hit that subscribe and notification bell down at the bottom. That way you never miss out on any videos, and I'll catch you guys on the next one. Peace.